Hello, everyone. I hope that you're having a good day so far. This is your teacher, Ma'am Hannah, and this is like a discussion. Just a brief explanation, some concepts to add for additional information, and this is in connection to your lesson for this week. Emphasis markers for persuasive purposes. Now, typically, this lesson will just talk about on emphasis markers, but in addition to that, since this is a supplementary video, I'll be talking a little about persuasive text or persuasive essay, since we're using emphasis markers for that purpose. You have watched a video of Nelson Mandela while he was giving a speech about the what sports can bring to us and all, and I hope that you were able to answer the process questions after that. Okay, so good for us that this lesson don't have an activity because this is embedded in your performance task. Okay, now let's go to talking about persuasive text or persuasive essay. It is most likely known as an argumentative essay, and to tell you honestly, persuasive essay or text is one of the hardest to write. Why? It is because you have to use logic and reason so that you can expand or show your point of view about a certain matter without feeling biased or prejudiced about anything. Okay, so you're taking a stand and tries to convince people to take sides with you. But in what way can we do that? Again, through logic and reason. When you will be in grade 9 or in grade 10, you'll be talking more about how to become a more logical and reasonable person when you communicate through speech or writing. Okay, in persuasive essay, you must be able to show arguments that are crystal clear, and it should be convinced and supported with facts and logical reasons. As I mentioned earlier, explaining or convincing somebody is not easy if you're just stating your feelings towards the matter. But then if you will be logical enough and provide evidences to prove your claim, then people will undoubtedly take sides with you. That is why persuasive essays are structured with introduction, body, and conclusion, just like any other forms of writing. But what makes it different is that the structure, its parts, has a specific delegated reason or purpose. So the introduction will introduce the topic and expose your thesis statement. For example, you are asked to write a persuasive essay about Let Me Be Me. Okay, so what is your stand on that issue or on that topic? That is what you will put in the introduction. In the body, you will give your evidences, they're your reasonable evidences to prove your claim. There's no need to over explain, but your facts and your stand. Most of the time, we don't use the word I, but we use the third person perspective. The people, most of the people, most of the children, most of the boys and girls who are around this age. So that is how you write it in the point of view. Because if you will use I, it will be somewhat personal and you're not trying to convince people. You're trying to speak for yourself, which is not of persuasive or argumentative speech. The conclusion will bring the universe as one. It will connect the dots. It will give a summary of the connection of your introduction to your body, and that is where you can see it in the conclusion, or that is what is to be written in the conclusion. Now, what is given in your essay, in your module, is not actually an essay, but it is in a form of a letter. Allow me to read it. An open letter to the basketball gods. Dear divine ones, as we compete against China in bidding to host the next World Cup, we invoke your divinities to favor us and with the privilege of hosting. We have all the reasons why we deserve to get your approval. Not surprisingly, we have the facilities and the venues to host the games by all means. Certainly, we have the Big Dome, Philippine Arena, and MOA Arena as perfect venues for Hoops Superstar to compete for the basketball glory. More importantly, we are the biggest followers of Hoops in the world. Notably, during the 2015 World Cup, we were anointed as the most valuable fans worldwide. Significantly, basketball in our country is not just a game but a religion. Above all, as big fans of your creation, basketball, we are the most passionate. May the odds favor us to get your nod in the rare opportunity of hosting this World Cup. Ardently yours, Juan de la Cruz. Okay, so this letter talks about persuasion to the basketball gods to allow the Philippines to host for the World Cup. Okay, so there are terms here, or emphasis markers as we term it, that are used to emphasize points and to give a better perspective to the ones reading of this letter, that there is actually a sense of persuasion and there should be a means of saying either yes or no to what is being asked. Okay, so here is what we will use to add emphasis, to add or to savor more the content of our letter or to with our essay. So we have here many terms to use. These are called as emphasis markers. Okay, so the emphasis markers from the term of emphasis, these are used to put significant degree of relevance to what is being stated. Okay, now let us go back to the letter. So I have identified here the emphasis markers that were used. Now we have not surprisingly, certainly, more importantly, significantly, and above all. Putting these emphasis markers here gives more impact to the letter than omitting it out, omitting is already removing, but omitting it, for example, you omit not surprisingly. We have all the reasons why we deserve to get your approval. We have the facilities and the venues to host the games by all means. It is like bland. But if you put an emphasis marker, not surprisingly, we have all, it adds impact to the message that you're trying to pull from your communication. Okay, just like in any other persuasive writing, I hope I can like show you some of my writings before. I am a writer as well. Adding emphasis markers will again totally add volume, impact, and as I mentioned earlier, it will savor more the persuasiveness of your output. Okay, so as you write on your performance task, which is about let me be me. To whom will you say it and why? I hope that you can formulate more persuasive text using, of course, you can employ emphasis markers to better highlight on the ideas that you wish to emphasize, and you can just read along your module for more explanation if this lecture is not enough. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, for taking your time to watch, and always remember to keep safe and do not forget to answer your modules. Thank you and goodbye.